to a restaurant, you watch the TV that's up on the wall? It's on, it has several of them, maybe different channels, different sports or whatever. And you notice some words at the bottom. That's what we were talking about. For movies, it's called subtitles. Like if they're speaking in Italian or French, the English along the bottom is called subtitles. Do you know that it's a different word if you're watching television?
Yes.
It's a different word. Can you think of the word?
Yes. Captions?
Captions, yeah. Now, how do those get there?
You go into settings.
You go into settings, yeah, like at home with your remote. You go into settings and you choose CC, which means closed captioning, right? Okay. And like, let's say you're watching TV with your grandma or something, and she might be using those because maybe she's lost a little of her hearing. And so my next question is, how do those captions get produced? Do you know? Anyway, that's what I'm going to tell you about today. I have a YouTube clip to show you. May I do that?
They love YouTube.
What?
Said they love YouTube. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a YouTube clip. Oh, we won't worry about that right now. Okay. So I'm going to pause it for a second. This fellow is a real-time writer like I am, and he has the same equipment like I brought with me today. And he has a little sister who's 12, and so she videotaped him at work because otherwise we would not ever see him. He's working from home, and he always works from home. That's why he's casually dressed. That's his apartment, and you'll be able to see his little dog that's behaving very nicely on the couch. And Stan is a real-time writer like I am, but he uses his skill to be a captioner for sports on TV. So I'm going to let this run now so you can watch him working. And as he writes on his equipment, like I will be doing here, his translations from steno into English get put right over the television for us to read. And they happen like almost instantly with a 1 or 2 second delay. Now the reason why I wanted to show you this is because this is a very good use of this skill should you choose to go into this after high school. And Stan works from home, which is what he prefers, and he absolutely loves sports. So he chooses to be the captioner for college and professional ball games because then he can kind of merge his skill with what he loves to watch. So you see how that's going there?
Wouldn't you guys like to get paid to watch sports?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have another question. Can you imagine what he is paid? Quite a bit.
100,000 per game?
No, that would be pretty ridiculous.
They got 100 per game.
$100 an hour. Well, actually more than that per game, because oftentimes those football games go on for 3 or 4 hours, right? And he doesn't have to, he gets a little break when there's a commercial, because those are already captioned beforehand in some other way. So I tell you about this because otherwise you wouldn't know if I didn't show you, right? Is that cool? All right.
Okay, you can see it popping up on his computer.
Yes, because he's, what's that?
You're watching his fingers.
Yeah.
He's
But
watching the computer.
he is watching the computer and fixing any mistakes he might be making. All right? So isn't that cool? All right. So I've never been a captioner, but I've done other things. So I wanted to show you that one. So I wrote you some notes. It's kind of squished, but I guess that's okay. All right, so would you be willing to pretend something with me? Yeah, first you have a question? Did you have a question or no? You're willing to pretend? So I'm going to have you pretend like you lost your hearing. If you did lose your hearing, would you still want to go to school here with your friends and where you know? Yeah. And if you did lose your hearing, your school might hire somebody like me to come here or to work from home like Stan is and provide the captioning to you. So pretend like you're completely deaf. You got your hearing back just now. So you get how that works, that you would be able to read along from an iPad or a phone for whatever your teacher was saying during class so that you wouldn't miss anything, okay? All right. So in the time we have together, about 15 more minutes, I want to be sure to hit on these particular things over here. And the first one is, why do I use this little machine? The blue sheet there, the front page, has the layout of the keyboard that I'm using. So why would I bother to have to learn a new machine? Because I can already type on a computer, right? You got a thought?
Because it would take too long to write out all the words on the pages.
Yes, if I had to spell out every word letter by letter, think how long that would take me.
Right.
But some of you can type pretty fast on a computer. How fast can you type, you say? 60?
I don't know how much, but I've been told that I look like a gazelle all the time.
Okay. Being described as a gazelle. Okay, you can type probably at the most 100 words a minute on a computer if you're really, really good, really fast. And the trouble is people talk at about 250 words a minute sometimes, and so that would be impossible to keep up. Okay, and so I don't have to worry about the spelling either. I just write phonetically. So that's kind of cool. So I can write a whole word sometimes by just pushing on the keyboard just one time. All right. So let's take a look at this blue sheet that I passed out. What do you notice about this particular keyboard? Yeah?
It's missing a lot of letters.
Missing a lot of letters. What do you see? Yeah.
Some of the letters were duplicated.
Right. Okay.
Like I see a couple of these
Arranged differently.
It's arranged differently, yeah. Okay, so let's try a little something. Why don't you put this on your lap, this keyboard, and pretend like this is, I couldn't bring in 25 machines. This one's like $1,500, so I only have one. So I brought the little blue sheet instead.
That's good.
Okay, so let's pretend like this is your machine. So it looks like all of you have discovered that your hands
Lindsay,
kind of fit
they're
right
up
over
there.
the keyboard. And did you get one? Did you need one? Pretend like your hands are going right over the keyboard, your thumbs are over the vowels, and the rest of your fingers, called digits, will be over the consonants, okay? So with your left pinky, push on that left S. Now it can be anywhere on that key because it's frozen, so no matter where you push on S, it will be S, okay? So wherever your pinky lands on the left with your left hand, push on that. At the same time, push down on the A with your left thumb. Okay, so just holding those two, with your right hand, with your right pinky, push on the T on the right side over there. And without pushing anything else, what did you just spell out?
Mrs. Thomas, call the office, please.
Sat. Very good. So, pushing down and letting up, you get the whole word sat. Let's try another one, okay? All four fingers of your left hand push on the SKWR and the O with your thumb on the left side, left hand. Okay, so all five of those keys on your left hand, and with your right hand, just the B with your middle finger. Okay? Can you imagine what word that is? Yeah.
Scrub.
Yeah.
Scrub.
Well, it almost could be. But with an O and pushing all four on the left, it's job. Because SKWR altogether is the letter J, or the J sound, okay? So in other words, there really isn't anything missing, and there really is not, okay, I can write anything in English, okay? Do you notice that there are four vowels, but the fifth one is with the E and the U together to make I, okay? And the J is all four of those, and there's a bunch of different combinations on here, so that I'm pushing several at once to mean something entirely different. Like the word go, all four fingers on the left over the TPKW with the O. So just with your left hand, you can write the word go. It's 5 keys, but it's the word go. Yeah, you got a question?
How come you do this, but there's a G right here, and you just press that and that instead?
Yeah, okay, except this keyboard is laid out like the English language is. So my consonant blends, like to write the word bling or black or block, the B and the L are on the left side, and they're together in the way that you would write them in English. Then the vowels are in the middle, and then you would hit the K on the right side for blank or block. So the G over here is ing. So it's the ending of words on the right-hand side. So for example, if someone says going, I would do the GO on the left, and then the G you are referring to on the right, so that I get going. All right? Okay. So we've answered the question, why the little machine, because I can go way faster. So do any of you like courtroom drama? Okay. So maybe not. Depends. Okay. Lawyers say things in the courtroom like that. You're familiar with that phrase? And here's another one. And before they talk to the judge, they ask permission to speak by saying that at the beginning. All those are written in one stroke of the keyboard so that I can keep up really fast. Okay? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did. So, you want to see it again? Right here. Burden of proof. And then I'm spacing down in between. And this is preponderance of evidence. PPDZ. Okay? And then may it please the court starts with an M, long AKT, like that. Okay. So if you like codes or puzzles, this could be an interesting occupation for you, because obviously I learned all of those and practiced them over and over. All right, so we're already on to number 2, because the uses of the machine, you saw Stan doing captioning for TV, and you've seen court reporters on TV in the courtroom, right? Yeah, you got a thought?
Yes, if you like SKWR, would just show up as a J if you let go or
Wonderful question. He's saying, what if you just push down on SKWR for like what I said was how to start a word that starts with J? By itself, it's the word judge. So that J by itself is the word judge. And if I add the G on it, over there, that G on the right side, I would get the word judging. Or if I add the D on the right side, what would I get? Very good. You're already catching up.
Yeah,
Yay.
very good.
Okay, so that's how a court reporter or someone who's writing real time can be really fast. Because you can do all those things in just one really quick stroke of the keyboard, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I already told you in my little blurb there about students at the University of Iowa who have hearing loss. So there is someone over there right now writing things for them so that they can participate just like anybody else. But I have a question about some of this courtroom stuff. Why do we write down everything that goes on in the courtroom?
So they can review it.
So they can review it?
It may be important later.
Might be important later?
might be important to open up to see if you can.
Yes. At the end of every trial, somebody loses, right? What can they do when they lose and they don't like that decision? And you're on the right track. Yeah, what?
Oh, check it.
They can check it. They can check it, yeah. They can also appeal. When they lose, they can say, in effect, oh, no, I don't like what that judge did because that judge was like off in their thinking. So they are going to appeal to either the Court of Appeals in Des Moines or the Supreme Court. And did you know that when someone appeals, they don't take all their witnesses and everything and everybody get on a bus and go to Des Moines? No, that's not what they do. They use the, you like that idea, but that's not how it works. It's the court reporter's transcript that goes to Des Moines. Did you know that? So why don't we just use a tape recorder or some kind of digital machine in the courtroom? Have you ever thought about that? Why don't we just do that? Yeah.
It can be easily edited.
It can be edited. Very good. Couple thoughts?
Deaf people wouldn't hear it.
Deaf people wouldn't hear it, yeah. And you know what? There are some lawyers who have hearing loss. There are jurors who have hearing loss, yet they can continue to participate as a juror. Or witnesses sometimes who have hearing loss, and they follow along with the real time because it gets produced right here on my laptop. And so court reporters are using that right now down at the courthouse. Okay, so let's see. So the other thing is, lawyers like to impeach witnesses. In other words, if somebody testified earlier this morning and said one thing, and then this afternoon they changed their story and they're saying something else, that's bad, right? Yeah, when you're under oath, that's a crime. It's perjury. But they can prove it by going back to whatever the testimony was, which is very easy to do in a real-time file, because you just word search, right? And that's the way the Supreme Court wants it also. They want a word file, not a digital recording that they have to listen to. They don't want that. Okay? All right, so where do you go to get trained for something like this? And where do you buy this machine?
Amazon.
No, well, no, not Amazon, but that's a really good guess because you can buy practically anything on Amazon, right? Okay, so first of all, finish high school. I'll give you a few years to do that, right? You need a few more years to do that. But immediately upon finishing high school, if you want to go into real-time writing, you only have to go as far as Newton. So this is taught at DMAC in Newton. And because it's a community college, it's just 2 years, and it's pretty inexpensive, right? You can go all year to college for, if I put 6K, do you know what that means? $6,000. You can go all year. And it's 2 years. Yeah, plus you need to buy some other stuff too, books and C's, and you need to buy yourself one of these machines. But anyway, you can get that all done for a pretty good, not too much money, right? Okay. What's that?
About $10,000.
Actually, about 17 total.
Because that thing alone is $1,500.
Yeah, and with every class that you take, there are books and things you have to buy. You don't have to buy them when you're in middle school.
about $1,000 per book?
Probably for the whole 2 years. Yeah, yeah, it adds up. Adds up. But at some colleges, you can only go like one semester for $17,000. And there are 8 semesters in a 4-year education. Anyway, so what really matters though, besides how much you spend on tuition, is how much do you get paid then to be a court reporter if you would like to do that once you get trained in real-time writing. Well, I'll tell you how much it is. It's $52,000 a year. Yes, so if you'd like to be, well, it's $1,000 a week. What's your allowance? You get an allowance?
$5.
$5, okay.
Well, actually, technically 4 because I have to donate one of them.
Okay, all right, because you've got expenses or some other commitment, yeah,
No, I just have to.
okay. So, I bet you could live on $1,000 a week.
Bet they could.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, okay, all right. So, do you want to hear about some crazy trials I've been involved in or know about?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I want to talk to you about this too. This is my little signal. How much time do we have left?
We have just short, like 8 minutes left.
Okay, that's plenty. Okay, so I can tell you about the crazy trial about the guy
Landon.
who burned his own house down.
Yes.
Okay, does that sound pretty stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid. He went to prison for that.
Just like how the guy was going to Florida.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah. Nobody died in this house fire, but what he did was really dangerous because he used gasoline. Wow. And not only that, but he was pretty suspicious because he took all of his good, valuable stuff out of the house ahead of time. Now, why would somebody try to burn their house down? What's the point of that? Yeah, go ahead. Just blurt
like
out.
the
For us, they
money.
might have a for us, they might have like a captive that they want to kill or something.
A what? A cat?
A captive.
Oh, a captive. No, there was nobody home. Yeah?
Maybe accusing them before the fire.
Oh, yeah. So he tried to make it look like it was an arson. Somebody else doing it?
So he get compensation?
Does that bell mean something to us?
No.
Okay.
Nope, we're good.
So he
We're
was
good.
showing compensation.
That's just MTSS.
Yes. Okay.
Wow.
But anyway, he got caught and he's in prison. Okay, so that's dumb. Don't do that. Plus, that's really dangerous. All right. And then,
At least it's not enough to know how to try compensation at least.
no, that's really dumb. Yeah. You should get a job.
Yeah.
Right. So then there was a guy driving along and he had been drinking. Okay, that's a problem right there, right? But to make it worse, he almost killed somebody. He ran over somebody turning left in front of a motorcyclist. And yeah, that was really bad. The motorcyclist was a young woman and he didn't know what he hit, but he didn't stop to find out. Okay, there's another crime right there. You're supposed to stop right away. And be really more careful when you're turning left. Turning left is very dangerous. Changing lanes is pretty dangerous too. Anyway, he hid his car.
Ladies.
And he had it repainted to try to hide the damage on it. Isn't that sad? That's pretty sick, right? Okay, so let me tell you about one other trial that I was involved in that I think is pretty spectacular. And I like to talk about it because
Elliot Sharp, come to the office, please. Elliot Sharp.
it involves the concept in the law called joint criminal conduct. So I'll tell you this story really fast, okay? It's kind of exciting and kind of crazy. It was 30 years ago before people had cell phones. So these 4 boys were in a car and they parked it at the rest stop along Interstate 80. This is a true story. And 2 of the boys stayed in the car and the other 2 went across the field to break into a house. But they had all talked about breaking in because they thought that there was like valuables or money or a coin collection or guns or something. Yeah, this is scary, right? This is bad. Bad choice? Yeah. And it gets worse. So they break in and they start going through the stuff and guess what? The owner of the house is home. What should they have done? Yeah.
They should have left.
Should have left.
Not
Get
even
out,
broken
get out.
in the first
Yeah,
place.
not even in the first place. But when you encounter a homeowner, they can shoot you justifiably, perhaps. Okay? So get out. They should have done that. They didn't. They hit him on the head, tied him up, and threw him on the bed. Okay? This is really rude, right?
Boy.
Yeah, yeah.
I think not.
Yes.
I am not comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. So can you imagine how it would feel when you got home today to your house and you found that someone had broken into your room and took all your good stuff or trash?
I'd be mad because I took my Xbox.
Yeah. Okay, so this guy got hit in the head and tied up and thrown on the bed and he starts having a heart attack. So what could they have done then? They could have called an ambulance or something, right? They didn't do that. They kept rummaging around in this house to try to find stuff. And the guy on the bed having a heart attack died. Okay? Died right there on the bed because he was so angry, so upset about these boys coming in his house. Okay, those boys are now charged with murder, those 2 boys, and because of the concept in the law called joint criminal conduct, the 2 boys in the car that didn't know what happened. But I choose them carefully. All right. So what questions do you have? More questions? Yeah?
Was it an interesting job?
Very interesting, yeah. Because people really make a mess of their life sometimes, and it's kind of like a circus watching trials like this happen.
Very much so.
What's the longest word you can type with one?
Well, I can do this in 2.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah. People often ask me.
Isn't that like the longest real
What's
word?
that?
What 2 letters did you have?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what I've done is, I knew that people would
You
want.
guys
to see
quiet
that.
so you can hear the answer.
And so I can't spell it out and I don't even know how to spell it, right? So I told my software that if I hit certain keys to produce that word for me, okay?
So kind of like programming,
Kind of like
probably.
coding.
What's that word even mean?
I don't know, but it's from Mary Poppins, is that right?
What's the longest word you can do while you're doing
Well,
Does it make anything?
preponderance is a pretty good long word with just 2 keys, both keys.
What does preponderance mean?
When you contemplate things, weigh it over.
Oh.
Yep.
So you programmed your thing to...
Yes,
so
I
you
did.
programmed all of it?
Yes, there's a set that you learn in at the program in Newton through DMAT. And then you can add your own if you want to.
Is there like a specific way or?
No, in fact, because I worked at the University of Iowa for a long time, I chose to do SZ twice. And that doesn't make any sense, but, right? Yeah.
You might have already answered this question.
okay, I don't mind.
Because I got a little late. But, when was this thing, started, first?
Like 100 years ago, this keyboard has stood the test of time, but as technology has come along and advanced, we continue to embrace it and use it to provide more services. Because obviously in the beginning of television, there weren't captions, right? You got a question? Okay, well, when you think of it again.
Okay, probably one more question we have time
Go
for.
ahead. But you have one. You're mystified. So someone say something. Go ahead.
Turtles.
Boston. Turtles. Okay, I got it finally. People don't say that very often. Go ahead.
Hello. Do you know like how to do names?
Miles Tiernan.
Miles. Mike.
You're right, Jaden, J-A-Y-D-N.
Yeah.
I Trevor.
Jaden?
J-A-Y-D-N. Please spell that.
Okay. Here's what I would do.
Yeah. Jaden.
There we go.
Oh, what about Rice?
Bryce? Is that how you spell it? Okay. I just got lucky because I entered those a long time ago. Yeah?
How is this thing so amazing, yet it was made so long ago?
Yeah.
Yep.